Hello, and welcome to Berry Nerd Corner. My name is Brandon, and this is my attempt to beat Pokemon SoulSilver using only Youngster Joey's Pokemon. We all know Youngster Joey. He's the first non-rival trainer you encounter in the Johto region, and he's always bragging about his top percentile Rattata. In fact, he only ever uses a single Rattata or Raticate. So that's what we're doing, using a single Rattata or Raticate to take on the entirety of the Johto League. We'll see once and for all how top percentile Rattata can be. Anyway, the rules are simple. I can only use Pokemon that Joey uses in the games, Rattata in his first encounter, and Raticate during subsequent rematches. So this is basically a solo run. Normally, I would impose hardcore Nuzlocke rules, but those are irrelevant in this challenge. I will forbid items in battle aside from held items, but obviously, HM Pokemon are permitted. Without further ado, let's jump into Johto and see how far we can go with one rat and a dream. Starting out, I named myself Joey and changed the most important setting, text speed. Gotta go fast. Now I'll just skip ahead past all the tutorial stuff. I could use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace one of the starters with Rattata, but I don't see much point when I can catch one on Route 29. Anyway, during the tutorial stuff, Joey is wrongfully accused of a crime. And who do you think came to my rescue? Professor Elm, who gave me my Pokemon, saw me leave town, and then called me at Mr. Pokemon's house when the crime was committed? Or Lyra, a random girl who only met me for the first time 2 minutes ago. Well, thanks for nothing, Elm. We also named our rival Mikey, because reasons. If you can figure out why, tell me in the comments down below. Now to find our real starter. I start hunting on Route 30 because Rattata is more common and is guaranteed to be at least level 3. I don't want to try and grind a level 2 Rattata. Luckily, I find one at level 4. I capture her in a Premier Ball because she's going to be my premier Pokemon for this run. I call her Rory. She has the naughty nature to boost her attack and the runaway ability. I take a moment to defeat a few Hoot Hoot and raise Rory to level 5 before checking on her. Well, good thing, Rory, because you're all I've got. Rory's debut battle is against none other than the OG Joey himself, but his top percentile, Rattata, doesn't stand a chance against Rory. After handily defeating him, we exchange numbers to keep tabs on each other's Rattata. At the top of Sprout Tower, Rory meets Mikey for the first time before taking on Elder Lee, which isn't so much of a taking on as it is a devouring. Rory manages to take out all 3 of the old man's Pokemon with 2 attacks each, the last one being a critical hit, and without taking any damage. Way to go, Rory! Now it's time for the Violet City Gym. Faulkner leads with his Pidgey. Rory hits him with a bite, scoring a clutch critical hit to take him down. Next is Pidgeotto. I continue to bite, hoping for some lucky flinches, and I get them! A few turns later, and Faulkner is defeated. Easy peasy. We call Joey to catch up on our top tier Rattata before heading to the mart. There, Professor Elm gives us the egg back to raise. We also meet a lady in a kimono who seems to know everybody's business. Jumping to Azalea Town, we witness some physical assault before casually moving on to explore a nearby well. We defeat the Rocket Executive Proton easily with 2 Hyper Fangs and move on to the gym, after turning down Kurt's number. Sorry bro, Rattata fans only. As I take out the gym trainers, Rory evolves into Raticate. This is perfectly legal, remember, because Joey does evolve his Rattata in rematches. But now it's time for Raticate to take on Bugsy, the Azalea Town gym leader. Bugsy starts with his infamous Scyther, whom I hit with a Hyper Fang doing massive damage. She U-turns out to a Metapod. This is perfect because I can Hyper Fang it to regain a little bit of HP with the Shell Bell. Scyther comes back in, only to fall immediately to a second Hyper Fang. And last is Kakuna, but she goes down just as quickly as Metapod did. Second badge acquired. Right after that, we have Rory's first real encounter with Mikey, who starts with a Ghastly. One bite, and it's done. Mikey then sends out his Croconaw. I switch to Hyper Fang, and 2 hits take him down. Last is Zubat, who falls to a single Hyper Fang. We travel through Ilex Forest, find a strange man tackling trees who teaches Rory to do the same. We also meet another kimono girl. Neat. At the daycare, Lyra forces us to take her number. Her grandpa does the same when we leave. Don't worry, we'll never call either of these losers who don't even talk about Rattata. Our egg hatches into Togepi before we get to Goldenrod City, so we do the responsible thing and leave her at the daycare. After touring Goldenrod, I head straight to the gym to earn my next badge. Whitney's first Pokemon is a Clefairy. After missing and taking a Fire Punch, Rory takes it out with a single Hyper Fang. Then comes the Miltank. The stupid cow tries to stall for 4 freaking turns with Milk Drink before using a Hyper Potion. But that only delays the inevitable, and eventually Rory takes her down and claims the 3rd badge. I heal up my Pokemon and call ya boy Joey, since I forgot to do so after beating Bugsy, but he has only the same old stuff to say. Good old Joey. You can always count on him. In the national park, we run into this guy named Cameron, who takes a lovely picture of Joey and Rory. Also there, we run into a trainer with a Raichu, which is dope. My first Hyper Fang misses, giving it a chance to hit me with Thunder, but it chooses to use Thunder Shock instead. Next turn, my rat devours his giant mouse. We arrive in Ecruteak City and head to the Burn Tower. There we meet some unsavory people. First is Yusin, who is obsessed with Suicune. Then we find Mikey, who thinks we're there to catch a legendary, even though Rory is the most legendary Raticate already. Naturally, a battle breaks out. Like last time, he starts with a Ghastly, which falls immediately to Crunch. Next is Magnemite, who is a bit more trouble. It confuses Rory with Supersonic, paralyzes us, and takes us to half health before falling to 2 crunches. Croconaw comes out and only lowers our speed before Friendship obliterates it. And last is Zubat, who does some light damage with Wing Attack before also falling to the power of Friendship. In the basement, we scare off a bunch of big dogs with our large rat, and Yusin suggests that he should be more aggressive towards Suicune. Okay, gym time! This one is super fast. 4 crunches and all of his Pokemon are defeated. Only his second Haunter did any damage with Sucker Punch. And now things get a bit more difficult. But first, let me show you how easy things tend to be. This is me running through Route 38. Most trainers' Pokemon go down in a single hit. I only run into any kind of trouble when I encounter bulkier Pokemon or get a status condition. But I'm eager to see how the next 2 gyms go. But now we're in Olivine City. Mikey is here, implying that I'm a weak trainer despite having lost against me 3 times already. What the heck, dude? Then I make an important discovery. I forgot to get Surf. So I rush back to Ecruteak City, visit the dance theater, beat up a Rocket Grunt, and get the HM. Back in Olivine, I clear the lighthouse and get a new side quest from Jasmine. Fetch the secret potion from the Cianwood Pharmacy. We run into our greatest foe so far in the middle of the ocean, Swimmer Robert with his 2 Gyarados. But not even 2 intimidating sea serpents are enough to stop my top percentile Raticate. We arrive in Cianwood City after beating a bunch of swimmers. There, we meet Suicune and Yusin again, and the mystery man challenges us to a battle. But it's a total slaughter. Crunch takes down both Drowsy and Haunter, and Return easily defeats Electrode. And now for the fighting gym. Luckily, I just picked up the TM for Pluck, and Rory can learn it, so the practice trainers are a cakewalk. But I have another realization halfway through the gym. Return actually does more damage than Pluck. You see, Pluck is 60 base powers, which is doubled to 120 when it's super effective. Return, however, reaches a base power of 102 with Max Friendship, which then increases to 153 with same type attack bonus, or Stab. So I switched to using the power of Friendship against Chuck. Let's see how it goes. First is Rory versus Primeape, but a single Return ends the Pig Monkey. Chuck then sends out Poliwrath. Rory hits a Return, tanks a Surf, then finishes the fight with another Return. And that's 5 badges. Way to go, Rory. I take a break from destroying gyms and return to Goldenrod City. There, I pick up a few items to prepare for the challenges to come. I also stop by Bill's house to find my favorite Pokemon, Eevee. I also find a 4th wall break when Bill mentions the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Pretty sus, dude. And now we're off to the Olivine Gym. After giving the secret potion to Jasmine, she has returned to take on challengers. This is probably the gym that has me the most worried. If I can get past this one though, I think I'll be set. So let's get after it. Jasmine first has 2 Magnemite. Rory sets up a substitute for later before using 2 Digs to take them both out. This brings out Jasmine's Steelix, the real trouble here. 1 Dig does about 45% of her health before Rory dodges an Iron Tail. Steelix sets up a Sandstorm, but a Metronome boosted Dig does enough damage to take out the giant Sneck. We then travel to Mahogany Town and then north to the Lake of Rage. There, we encounter and defeat the Red Gyarados and meet our true rival, Lance. He invites us to a souvenir shop in town to take down Team Rocket. In the shop, Lance assaults a man with his Dragonite and delves into the Rocket hideout. We follow suit, clearing out a ton of grunts easily. Lance tells me about a puzzle to open the door to the boss, but the first 2 grunts I beat tell me the solution. One of which is offensive to our dear friend Rory. What the heck? Finding the boss's room, I use the passwords to open it and find Petrol, who somehow thinks I know who Giovanni is and what he looks and sounds like, despite having never met him. Anyway, he drops his disguise and fights me. Well, tries to fight me, doesn't even touch me as Rory brutally beats all of his Pokemon. Petrol's Murkrow helps us open a door to the power room, but Ariana and a grunt corner us as we try to enter. Luckily, Lance comes to our aid and a tag battle begins. The Rockets send out Drowsy and Arbok against Rory and Dragonite. Return takes down Drowsy and brings out Grimer. Rory digs to take down Arbok while Dragonite defeats Grimer and gets paralyzed by Glare. Ariana sends out Murkrow and then Gloom, but both fall quickly to return. Lance then requests that we help defeat the Electrode in the power room, which we do easily. After a few digs, the rocket hideout is cleared and we're ready for the Mahogany Gem. Price uses Seal, Piloswine, and Dugong, but Rory is just too powerful. She takes them out with a single return each, giving us the 7th gym badge without even breaking a sweat. Leaving the gym, Professor Elm calls me to tell me that Team Rocket has taken over the radio tower in Goldenrod. Oh boy. Now Rory and I are off to solve another of this country's problems all by ourselves. I return to Goldenrod and live my dream of joining Team Rocket. That is, until Mikey strips me of my new uniform and ruins it, forcing me to battle my brother-in-arms, a grunt who uses 2 Raticate. I'm sorry, brother, but I must be the very best. My Raticate is truly in the top percentile of all Raticate. Mikey runs off, leaving Rory and me to handle this incursion alone. While I take on the grunts, Rory and my HM Pokemon catch Pokerus, which is kinda useless now since Rory's EVs are likely maxed out. But that's pretty cool, I guess. In the director's office, Rory and I find Petrol again. This could be a scary battle because he has a bunch of exploding coughing and a wheezing. I managed to Oko the first coughing, but wheezing just barely manages to survive and hits me with a smokescreen. After taking it and the second coughing down, I set up a substitute in case of self-destruct. The remaining coughing all fall to single hits from return, despite a few misses. And I don't even lose my sub. Way to go, Rory. In the basement of Goldenrod, we encounter another Kimono Girl and run into Mikey again. Dude, I thought you left. Anyway, he's not even a challenge. Rory just absolutely slaughters him. And the slaughter continues as Rory tears through a handful of rocket grunts. We find the director, who surrenders his card key to a 10-year-old. Moving on, we head back to the radio tower for an admin gauntlet. We challenge Proton, Ariana, and Archer, but none of them even manage to put up a fight. Not even an Intimidate from Ariana's lead Arbok can slow down the beast. That is Rory. Archer loses and disbands Team Rocket. The director shows up, gives us a Silver Wing and some nonsensical advice, and we move on with our lives. To Blackthorn City. Claire leads with Gyarados, which is perfect for setting up. Rory uses Swords Dance twice to buff her attack, taking light damage from a couple Dragon Rages. Then, the slaughter begins. 4 PP of return later, and Claire is defeated. Unfortunately, she's a worse loser than Whitney is, and demands we prove ourselves to the Dragon Master in the Dragon's Den. So we enter the den, clear out a few more trainers, and then take a quiz. We pass and earn the final badge. We also get a bit more exposition about the legendary Pokemon Lugia. Nice foreshadowing. Professor Elm summons us to his lab conveniently and gives us the Master Ball and some more exposition. And I have 2 questions for you, Professor. 1, why must you call the Kimono Girls beautiful? Is that really important to the story? And 2, what happened to Chikorita's Pokeball? Where did she go? Actually, I don't care. Nobody likes Chikorita. We quickly return to the Ekritique Dance Theater to meet the Kimono Girls and run into Mikey. He apparently just got his butt beat by them, and he decides that casual sexism is the appropriate response to losing a Pokemon battle. Not cool, bro. Not cool. We enter the theater and take on the 5 girls. Unfortunately, they decide to dump a bunch of exposition about how we met them before battling. Fortunately, I can skip all of that for you, and they all fall very quickly to Rory. Only Umbreon survives a hit. After we beat them all, they give us a bell and send us to the Whirl Islands to face down Lugia. As we delve into the caves, we get a call from ya boy Joey. He brags about beating a Rattata. Way to go, dude. Making us Rattata stands proud. Rory and I navigate to the bottom level of the Whirl Islands. We witness an unusual dance. You know what would make this dance better? Getting rid of this Kimono Girl. You ruined the symmetry. Or at least stand still. The dance summons Lugia from behind the massive waterfall, and Rory and I accept its challenge. It survives a super effective crunch surprisingly well, but only sets up a bit of rain before we finish it off next turn. Then, we leave without saying a word to the Kimono Girls. And with that, it's time to take on the road to the Indigo League. Before we leave, we stop by our house to check on Mom and take a quick siesta. Rory seems to enjoy our room, singing a little song to hype herself up for the coming challenge. We traverse Route 26 and take on a bunch of trainers. None of them are challenging though, so let's just take this time to talk about the run so far. I'm pleasantly surprised that I made it this far. I thought that Chuck or Jasmine would stonewall me for a little while, but they turned out to be pretty easy. I don't expect the Elite Four to be hard really. I think the biggest challenge will be Koga's Fortress and Lance's entire team. Rory unfortunately isn't that sturdy, so she might need to be high enough level to Oko his entire team. Anyway, we find a little rest house to heal before checking our badges at the Victory Road gate. We traverse through Victory Road and run into our lesser rival Mikey for one last time. Mikey's team consists of Sneasel, Feraligatr, Magneton, Kadabra, Golbat, and Haunter. Finally, Mikey understands that he lacks a truly top percent Eradicate like Rory. He walks away in shame. After a bit of grinding, Rory and I decide to try our hand at the Elite Four. She's at level 65, so we'll see if she can become a champion. First is Will, the Psychic user, and unfortunately for him, Rory outspeeds with Metronome boosted Crunch to Oko all 5 of his Pokemon. Sorry dude, the odds were just not in your favor. Second is Koga, whom I'd expect to be a decent challenge. He starts with an Ariados, whom I use to set up a Swords Dance. It falls to Dig before Fortress comes out. After some full restore and protect shenanigans, Rory is able to defeat the not poison type with Dig. Muck is next, but not even Minimize can protect it from Rory's Underground Fury. Return takes down Crobat and Venomoth, allowing us to move on. Third is Bruno, who could go either way. Especially when I'm a dummy and I forget to heal between battles. Oh my gosh. Anyway, first is Hitmontop, who fortunately doesn't have Intimidate and instead uses Dig, even though Triple Kick would have destroyed me. I set up a Swords Dance and Dig to avoid damage and take it out on the following turn. Hitmonlee comes out and nearly takes itself out when I mistakenly use Dig again. Machamp comes out after Lee falls, but a single return takes it out. Onix hits Rory with a boosted Earthquake due to her being underground, but then it falls to said Dig. And last is Hitmonchan, who also succumbs to the power of friendship. Last in the Elite Four is Karen, the Dark-type Master. Her lead is an obnoxious Umbreon who uses Double Team while I set up a Swords Dance. Unfortunately, that's game. Rory lands at return to take it down, Crunch to deal with Gengar, and returns to handle Houndoom, Murkrow, and Vileplume. And now we're here, at the champion. Can Rory and I defeat him and truly prove that she is in the top percentile of Eradicate? Let's find out. As with Claire, first is a Gyarados. I use Swords Dance and take a Waterfall pretty well. A second Waterfall crits, but I managed to survive while boosting Rory's attack even further. Then, the madness begins. I was literally holding my breath as each turn started. Return takes down Gyarados, his Ace Dragonite, his 2 lesser Dragonite, and Charizard. Last is Aerodactyl, but Rory still outspeeds it and chomps it down with a Crunch for the W. Holy smokes. I didn't expect this run to go this easily. I honestly expected to hit a bit of a wall with Chuck or Jasmine, then give up on this run for the time being. Even after beating them, I was always ready for Eradicate to become clearly outclassed. But that never happened. I only ever had to grind twice, for Jasmine and for the Elite Four. Eradicate is just such a glass cannon of a Pokemon. If it can outspeed and hit for neutral damage with a turn, you're done. If that doesn't work, the type coverage from Dig and Crunch usually did the trick. And of course, there's the added bonus of Swords Dance, which makes everything so much easier. Once he learned that, it was just a matter of taking a hit, or sometimes 2, before sweeping entire teams. This run was very fun though. I loved it. Maybe one day I'll come back to conquer the Kanto League and face Red himself. We shall see. If you want to see that, comment down below. Let me know. I definitely enjoyed having a challenge that I could play through very quickly to balance ones like Ash and Fire Red that takes a bit more time in planning and grinding. But that's going to be it for this video. If you liked what you saw, like and subscribe. And if you have an idea for a future video or challenge, leave a comment down below. Until next time, I'm Brandon, and my Rattata is in the top percentile of Rattata. Bye!